Convey your sustainable competitive advantage and thrive. Who is this for? All businesses want to maximize profits. Now, there are only four ways to do that. Number one, increase your sales. Number two, increase your price. Number three, reduce your expenses. And number four, any combination of the above. This webinar is for small business owners and entrepreneurs pitching your idea or your business. It all starts here, speaking about your business in the most efficient and the most effective way. This will net you more yes responses, which is going to automatically maximize your profits. Having a business means always pitching and presenting your business. So why not do it in the most efficient and the most effective way? What are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about a strategy to conveying your unique value add, ensuring that others will hear it and want to know more whenever you are talking about your business. We're going to talk about how to develop your elevator speech as part of your pitch presentation, and then we're going to go into developing your pitch presentation. Remember this, if you say it, they may doubt you, but if they say it, it's true. So the secret to all persuasion is inducing the other person to persuade themselves. And I'm going to add, with lots of integrity. 6 elements to conveying value and pitching in a digital world. Attention spans are down to less than that of a goldfish. Every day, we're bombarded with over 5,000 different brands, 360 different advertisements. We didn't even talk about emails. Our workers are being hit with over 120 emails every single day. This is what you are up against. Attention spans are down to less than that of a goldfish. The goldfish attention span is at 9 seconds. So what does this mean? It means you only have seconds to get and keep someone's attention. So your impactful words or your concise statements show respect for everyone's time. Understand this one strategy to make yourself stand out from the rest. Do it right, and audiences will absolutely want to hear more. This is why your elevator speech early in the part of your pitch presentation is so important, because it establishes your target market, it establishes how you help them, and the why underlining your entire presentation. The simulated live moment pitch. Let me start with this. The human connection has never been more important. You are creating a simulated live moment in your video pitch. What I mean by that is this. It's a simulated moment. It has the appearance that you're actually talking to another human being without the benefit of the response that you normally get. So sometimes that can be a little challenging. I'm going to share with you some ideas that can help you make that connection. Know, as a business owner, you're always going to be heading towards presenting your business live, whether that's in person or over the phone or Zoom. Being present while recording your pitch. What do I mean by that? Being present is something that automatically happens when you actually are in a live conversation, whether it's over the phone or in person or live via Zoom. You have to be present because it's the human connection that's happening, and it'll automatically pull you into that moment. But in this case, we're doing a simulated live moment, and sometimes that can be a little challenging. Well, here's some things you can do to help simulate that live moment. One of the things is imagining exactly who you are talking to. Once you look directly into the camera and imagine who you are talking to, you should set an intention. What is your intention? What is it that you want them to feel? What is it that you want them to understand? What is it that you want them to do? If they were getting your message, what are you listening for? Would they be nodding their head? Would they be saying, "Oh, you know what? I like this brother. He cool. I like him. He makes sense." What are they doing that tells you that they're getting the message that you're conveying? Here's the other thing. It's called the Dashin smile. Somehow this magical moment of smiling while you're trying to shoot a video helps you drop into the now moment. I think it's because when we smile, we usually smile at another human being. And if you're smiling at another human being, you're not focusing on yourself. So it will help. It'll keep you in the moment. It'll keep you in the now. It'll keep you present. Your elevator speech works like a dog whistle, only heard by certain people. And in this case, those certain people are your ideal clients. And this actually is your target market. So it's going to exclude the people that you are not looking for. But if you design it right, it's going to attract the person who is looking for you. Not only that, your elevator speech includes your value add while you speak directly to your ideal client. Making your elevator speech speak to who's looking for you. You can create one by boiling down to these questions. If you answer these questions in a concise, impactful statement, you will get to the compelling elevator speech. Who is your ideal client? Who's your avatar? The persona, the characteristics, and the attributes. What is it about this person? You should know who that is. You should know what exactly you do for them. What is it that you do? And not only that, what's unique about what you do for them, which is maybe different. Maybe there's other people that do what you do for them, but then maybe there's something that's unique to you in terms of what you do for them. Here's one thing you want to think about. In getting to your ideal client, know who you do not want to work with. Because if you're clear about, if you've got that much clarity in terms of who you do not want to work with, you can have all the clarity in the world about who's there. Who do you want to work with? This should be crystal clear in your mind. Do you feel like your pitch is too long or confusing or boring? Are you landing on that place where you're talking too much about the features of your business as opposed to the compelling benefits of what you bring to the table? Believe me, if you're talking too much about the features of the business, maybe you may be confusing people. And if you confuse people, you lose credibility. Do you feel like, oh, I don't have enough time? 3 minutes is not long enough. Well, let's put that in perspective. How long was the Gettysburg Address? What do you think? And no cheating, you cannot use the Google. 45 minutes long, is that your guess? Well, guess what? You're wrong. How about 18 minutes long? That is a TED Talk, but guess what? You'd still be wrong. How about 5 minutes? You think it was around 5 minutes long? You'd still be wrong. One of the most significant speeches ever given lasted around 3 minutes. So this is proof that your pitch can be short and impactful. If Steve Jobs needed an elevator speech, you do too. Think about this. Great leader, iPhone, revolutionary product. People queued literally overnight just to get their hands on the iPhone. In 2007, when he launched it, some people still feel like this is one of the greatest elevator speeches ever given. It lasted for about 3 minutes, and then the rest of the presentation was about 17 minutes. So if don't fall for the fallacy, if I build it, they will come. That is false. The bottom line is no matter how great your product is, your service, your idea, if you cannot convince other people of its value, it will not succeed. Elevator speech formula. Answer these questions to get to the building blocks or the components of your elevator speech. The first question is, what problem do you solve? If you can answer this question, this means you are absolutely going to convey the value that you bring to the table. This is absolutely your value proposition. The second question is, who is your ideal customer? Knowing who you don't want to work with, and I'm saying this in the most kindest, gentlest way, will give you clarity on who your ideal customer is. Now, if you're new to business, if your business is new, you get to pick who your ideal customer is. And if you have been in business for a while, you kind of know who your ideal customer is because you probably know who your ideal customer is not. Whom do you help and how? Understanding that and being clear about who you help and how. What do your customers say about you? This is actually your brand. This is your brand. And if you don't know what they say about you, guess what? You get to ask the question. Ask them, what do they say about you? The other question is, what result do you help them achieve? Now, this can be your pathos or the passion part. If you don't have numbers to go with it, this is the result that you can passionately talk about that you help them achieve. Now, if you've got numbers that goes to this, and you can quantify it through numbers, like I help these particular people cut this particular time in half, or I help these people raise their blah, blah, blah by 30%. That's going to go to your ethos, which directly goes to your credibility. Also, your logos. The other question is, what else do they gain because of you? If you answer all of these questions, you will absolutely, in a concise elevator speech, bring your value crystal clear to the table. Here's an example of my elevator speech. I help small business owners and entrepreneurs get more through the language of sales. Now, your elevator speech should make someone curious about what you do and want to know more about how you do it. Your elevator speech happens somewhere in the beginning of your pitch presentation, somewhat like a thesis statement. It's going to serve the same purpose as a thesis statement, but in your pitch. This is going to clearly define your target market. It also establishes the significant way you help. It most often is the value add and the sizzle of what you do. And through your pitch, it's going to be the why that establishes the foundation all throughout your presentation. Elevator speech example continued. Here's an example of a software company recently observed in a different pitch competition. We're a B2B software company targeting financial advisors, helping them write and send clear emails in half the time they normally do. This elevator speech was mentioned up front. They said it at the very beginning part of their pitch presentation, and they came from this industry. They figured out exactly how much time was wasted by financial advisors trying to create the same email that needs to be sent to different clients, and it's specific to financial services. These guys were subject matter experts from the industry, so they knew the numbers behind the lost productivity. So their elevator speech clearly defines their target market, and it shows you how they help them. And what this translates to is the value add, the value they bring, and this also is the sizzle to what they do. It's the foundation in the pitch presentation. When you listened to the rest of the pitch presentation, you understood the why. You understood why they do what they do throughout the entire pitch. How to develop your business pitch presentation. Now, this is your story. This is the story as to what happened. What is the reason you started your business? What is the inspiration? Tell us the story that compelled you to say, hey, you know what? This is a business and I'm going to solve this particular problem. This is the place where you give the explanation, firsthand examples of what you do, what you're planning to do, or the how. Quantifying with numbers is always a good thing. It always gives you credibility if you can put the numbers to what it is you're planning on doing. Always talk about your team from the perspective of the diverse backgrounds in terms of expertise that they bring to the table. If you've got a marketing person, if you've got a person that has a strong sales background, or someone that has a strong financial services background or operations background, that's always a plus. This is where diversity is strength, right? Having a business that has launched in beta, is that the case? That's good. That'll be helpful. Are people using your product now? These are things that you want to talk about. Are you the first to market? And your competitors? How do you stack up against your competitors? What is your sustainable competitive advantage? What can you tell us about your competitors, if you even have competitors. Your business model pricing points and projections must be realistic. Know these numbers. And one of the things that is important you do not want to do is talk about the ask for money up front. You don't want to do that early. You want to do that late after you've established the compelling value add, the compelling reasons, the ROI. When you've established all of that, that's probably the better time to talk about the money that you're trying to raise. Developing your business pitch presentation continued. TAM, SAM, SOM. Investors often ask about this, and you should talk about this. You should talk about it in a certain way because there are some traps. Total available market is the total market demand for your product. Now, this is the TAM. Understanding the TAM is being clear on what the TAM is not. This is not a top-down approach. This could be an easy trap I've seen businesses fall into. Because the TAM is the big number, people want to say things like, oh, this is a $250 billion market, and that if we get only 1% of that, we are a $2.5 billion company. Well, that is not the way you calculate TAM. And if you do it that way, you're probably going to lose credibility. It is not the size of a problem. I've heard companies say things like, this is a $150 billion annual problem. That's not the TAM. That is the size of a problem. The TAM is not the size of the entire market. The TAM is the size of your entire market. Now, how you get there is you have to dig deeper. You get to the SAM, which is your serviceable available market. This is the segment of the TAM that is targeted by your products and services within a geographical area, meaning like, say you want to target California, say you only want to target the United States, or say you only want to target certain countries, or maybe certain countries that speak a particular language. You even dig deeper. You dig deeper and you get to the SOM, which is the serviceable obtainable market. This is the portion of the SAM that you can capture, meaning this is your short-term goal. This is what you actually can do. And your target market, which you've already defined. Now, you calculate your TAM by the number of customers times the price. That's how you do the calculation to figure out what your TAM is. Developing your business pitch presentation continued. Elaborate on your target market and growth channel. This is the channels of distribution for acquiring this particular client. What are the different distribution channels you are going to use to focus on getting your target market to your front door? How will you scale? Sometimes it's good to focus on where you want to be and not where you are. This is going to give you an opportunity to focus on your dreams and goals and have them pull you forward in defining where you want to be. Be clear about your raise runway. Your raise runway is how long your company can survive if income and expenses stay exactly the same. This is a lot like if you were in charge of building an airport and you're going to build a runway. How much runway do you need? What's too little? What's too much? In business, if you raise too much capital, you may not feel the urgency of hitting your milestones, so that might work against you. But if you raise too little capital, you may run out of money. That's not comfortable as well. So what you're trying to do here is you're trying to find the sweet spot. My understanding is it's somewhere around 18 months for startups. Do you have committed funds already? That can be attractive. Now, you also, if you do, you also, even if you don't, you want to talk about the use of funds. How are you going to use these funds? Are you going to have 45% or 47% go to development, 37% go to marketing, and 16% go to other? Talk about that. What are the benefits to early investors and the exit options. Are you going to do IPO? Do you see yourself having a company that's so attractive that it gets bought by a bigger company, or is, like a merger or something? Or are you going to do private offerings? These are all things that you want to be cognizant that you may need to talk about, and you should be able to answer these particular things if you're trying to get to the next level, right? Quick recap: 6 elements of conveying value. We talked about how attention spans are down to less than that of a goldfish. So this put the emphasis on getting and keeping someone's attention up front. This is why it's important to be effective and efficient in the words you are using, being compelling and saying your value add up front. This is making the case for your elevator speech as the beginning part of your pitch presentation. We talked about how you are creating a simulated now moment and how human connections they've never been more important. And sometimes it can be challenging because you're not in a real moment with someone and you're creating a simulated real moment. And so one of the ways to simulate that power of the human connection is the Duchenne smile, focusing on the other person and smiling while you talk helps you drop into that authentic moment. We talked about how the elevator speech should be designed specifically for who is looking for you. It works a lot like a dog whistle, heard only by your ideal client. This is your target market. We talked about how sometimes it can be confusing or boring, or maybe you're focusing too much on the details of what you're doing as opposed to the benefits you're bringing to others, and how maybe you feel like you need more time. And we showed you how the Gettysburg Address was actually done in 3 minutes. So you can be compelling and concise in a very short period of time. We talked about if Steve Jobs needed an elevator speech, well, guess what? You probably do too. We talked about the business pitch. This is your story. We talked about TAM, SAM, SOM, the importance of not getting caught on those big numbers. We talked about scale. How do you scale? We talked about runway. We talked about the use of funds. We talked about exit strategy. Here's the last thing I want to talk about. How do you feel when you speak about your business? Pay attention to how you feel when you talk about this idea or your product. Do you get a charge when you talk about it? Is this something that you're excited to tell others about? Does it just make you smile and just feel good? Are you connected to the passion for what you're doing? Remember this, you are first partaker of this product called you. So congratulations for not only just having the audacity to dream, but having the audacity to follow your dreams. Let's lean into what we bring to the table. Our time is now. My name is Will Walls.